Hi, this is George, and today I want to do a letter. I'm going to do the letter Z, and I'm not calligraphist by any means. So bear with me. So I'm freehanding the Z, and we'll see how it goes. Okay. I'm using my stencil because it's easier to get a straight edge, but if you want to use a ruler, by all means use that. Or if you want to freeform it like a wise, go for it. Because if you have like a business card or whatever, you can use that as well. Okay. And I like the mistakes that I did in drawing up the Z, and I'm going to do that a bit elsewhere. So I'm going to even out the distance from here to here a little bit more. I want to have a little bit of a flower motif in each corner, but I want it to be behind the Z. Now, I don't know what color scheme I'm going to go for. Or the details. Actually, I think I'm going to have it in front of the Z. Okay, so I've been noticing a couple of years ago, I purchased this Castle Arts watercolor pencil set, and I did that because although I like my Winsor Newton, there aren't really a lot of choices as far as color goes. So I bought this. It has 72 colors. And I've used a couple from the set. Sorry about the close-up, but anyway. But I wanted to augment my watercolor pigments with the watercolor pencil, because they work great to fill up the gaps that I think I have. For example, I like to use earth tones in some of my paintings, but I don't think I have that many that I could use with watercolor. So, for example, I like the sepia and sienna family, but also I like grays, whereas I have a couple of grays in my Neo Color 2s. I like them, but they can really be intense. So, as you can see, Cancel has kindly included the names and colors of the various colored watercolor pencil. And although I don't think I'm going to use many, I like the option of having more than I need to. So with that, let's begin. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not really a purist as far as limiting myself to all watercolor or all gouache or all anything, basically, because I think it's important to, one, have fun with your supplies, and to use what supplies you have available. Now, the Castle watercolor pencils that I have, I got when I was still working and didn't have not much of a issue with saving my pennies. But now that I'm not working and I have to fight the urge to shop on Amazon at the drop of a hat, I have to use the supplies that I have. So, what I like to do, even when I was more or less painting exclusively with watercolor, I ended up using acrylic ink for my ink work, and a kind of a translucent acrylic that made by using a bit of the acrylic, I was able to have my own kind of pearlescent kind of treatment with some of my watercolors, especially when I was doing fish painting. I'm going to use a little bit of kneaded eraser to kind of get the bulk of the pencil marks off my paper. And I'm using Escher's cold pressed 140 pounds, because I like Escher's. It can be kind of pricey, but again, I got these pads when I was working. Normally, I use B paper. Again, it's 100% watercolor paper, which allows for a lot of working and layering possibilities. I got rid of the settler because I don't need it anymore, at least not right now. So I'm going to use my watercolor set from Winsor Newton. I'm going to spritz it with a mister, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do, especially with the whole background. I do want to have some yellow and mimic. This is a Winsor Newton number, actually round number 2 from Princeton. This is another 2, but you can see how different it is. And this is from Mimic. And a round Princeton Art number 4. I have some water over here. So my goal for this one, painting, Doodle, is to incorporate some watercolor as well as colored pencil or watercolor pencil. because it's important to not get tied down with the supplies that you use. The goal of supplies is to use them at your convenience. Like I said, I don't have a lot of colors from this set, but I have a huge amount of watercolor pencils. And sometimes, for example, when I do my tiny houses, I like to use my Inktense pencils because they're really intense, and it works well for that series. But I think with the alphabet series that I'm going to do, and this is the second one, is a bit more intense that I want. So let's go with a more muted background. Because I have an idea that I want to test out. So basically, with this, I applied a bit more of thick application of the yellow ochre, and I'm going to wet my brush and have it bleed out. Another way you can do this is apply some water first, and if you need to go back in with more water, go for it. And since that is all wet, you can go in with your color more full strength. And feather it out with more water. Because remember, the watercolor will tend to dry lighter as it dries. Okay. And around the flower. And the end under of the letter Z. I probably should have waited for this to dry, but that's okay. You know me, because I'm impatient, but don't be me. Let it dry. And over here I have some paper towels. Okay. So why did I do the Z as opposed to the A, which is the first letter of the alphabet? No particular reason. And let's not forget that flower. And some more yellow ochre inside. 'Cause why not? Now this is how I'm doing this. If you have another way of doing it, go for it. I'm just having fun exploring my supplies. I'm going to let this dry. Probably I'm going to use my blow dryer, which is a wow, but you can use anything you have. So I'll be right back. Reason I dried it off a bit is I want to start going with my watercolor pencil, but I want to add another layer. When I used to paint in watercolor, I used the tea consistency. It's kind of like there's like tea and coffee consistently, like in watercolor or gouache. Because basically what happens when you use that consistency, it's a series of really light washes, and you build up your intensity by applying glazes. And I used to, like I said, with the Winsor Newton cotton bin, because it was inexpensive, but I learned the strengths and weaknesses of them, and what without a problem, because basically any medium is going to have strong points versus weak points. And the weak points, you just have to know your supplies and get used to them.